back to another episode of my Georgia Bulldogs Dynasty here on College Football 25, where in this one we will be previewing the 2027 season, aka Year 4. Last episode was the 2027 off season, and saw some guys get some big boosts, had to make some tough decisions, had players make tough decisions, but we are ready for the next season. We are coming into the year ranked as the number 3 team in the country. As we're looking at recruiting, we'll start off here. Only have 7 seniors. So not a whole lot of people leaving, and there's not a whole lot of juniors to me that makes sense to leave, really and truly. But we have needs that we are going to try to hit, and if we have to make tough decisions, we have to make tough decisions. Going after a quarterback, because I do think there's always the chance that somebody transfers out. So we'll have Broderick Fantus here, 4-star gym, scrambler type, really good athlete, good arm, and the accuracies are in a good enough spot that I think that he could definitely be a weapon for us in the future. Going after an elusive back and a power back, a couple of 4-star guys here, both of them out of Florida. Moving over to wide receiver, we got 5-star Kevin O'Hare, 97 speed deep threat. Jalen Merrill, a 99 speed deep threat out of Florida. Probably the top target I have in this entire class right now. Really trying to get another guy with that deep shot capability. And then we do have another physical type receiver. We've got a wide receiver room full of them, and I think that's going to end up being where we see some attrition, waiting on people to kind of to develop and see who stands out. But Akeem Adeyemi here out of Miami, Florida. Florida has definitely been a really big state for us so far this year, or so far in the series and this year in particular. Not going after any tight ends. Going after a couple of offensive tackles here, we do have a need to at least bring one in. Romeo Bloom is the guy here out of the state of Georgia that I do want the most. A pass protector there on that side, but putting a lot of points into all these guys. All 4-star, all are gems. Going after a couple of guards here. I think I have to have one. So I need one tackle and one guard. Probably going to be really picky with these spots, and instead of going the hardest after the number 1 guard in the country, going after LeClaire here out of Georgia, 4-star gym, just hoping for the better development rate, but nothing about Virgil makes me think that he would be bad if we end up with him. We're leading for LeClaire, though, is definitely another big reason to do that. Trying to add some bodies here along the defensive end. Got Javier Mance out of Florida, Amika Alaka out of North Carolina, and then Eric Gibbons here out of Florida is the guy I'm going after the heaviest. He's got all these guys have us at the top, but Gibbons being a gym power rusher, interested in that, and certainly am trying to pull him in. Defensive tackle, going after some guys here. Trey Dragos is the guy that I'm going after the most, the power rusher tendency there. I like what he could potentially bring for us as a pass rusher. He's out of Tennessee, and definitely looking forward to trying to get him. Right now we're in a big heated battle with Tennessee for him, and that is the main guy we're going after there. Emmanuel LeBeau, we're up to number 1 on his list, a 5-star number 2 player in the country. Comes in with just 60 zone coverage, but 86 speed. 80 block shedding. Would definitely need to develop some, I think, with his zone coverage for sure. But there might be a little bit of pass rush in there with how low his zone is. No middle linebackers at corner. Trying to add a couple of guys here. Jamal Flowers, the top 20 prospect in the country. He is a quote-unquote bust, but 6'1" with 95 speed and 80 man coverage. And 86 press I do think would be excellent. Amani Jerry here out of Lilburn, Georgia. 5'11", 205 corner, but again, the 99 speed, 82 zone with the 73 man. 70 press. He looks like a really good prospect here, and a guy that I would be really excited for. Take either one of these guys. Spots are going to be tight. We did start off with an instant commit here from Quentin Urbach, a free safety prospect, 93 speed, 74 pursuit, does have 76 man coverage. He's a hybrid type safety, which in anything that I've read, those are the ones that kind of develop the least. KJ Bolden is a hybrid safety and hasn't developed extremely well in this series. We are going after John Anelli, a 5-star bust, but a top 5 player in the country here. Strong safety, again, another hybrid guy. But 94 speed, 72 zone, but there's not a lot of spots. That is something to remember. I am sure that at some point in time we will lose more guys. Like if we come over to my school right now, I do think we have some guys that have the potential of transferring for one reason or another. Let's see if there's something here in particular. Playing time, you got William Bigsby here. I do think we maybe have, some wide receiver. Nope, just Bigsby. But I did see there was at least a couple of, it looked like there was another player or two that would maybe be somebody that would be interested in transferring out. Bigsby, of course, was a 5-star quarterback we brought in this last class, and his thing is playing time. But as we move over to the roster, probably going to be hard for him to get playing time considering we are preparing to start a redshirt freshman. Keldon Leonard beat out Ryan Puglisi in the spring. Puglisi decided to transfer out, and Keldon Leonard is going to be your starting quarterback for this year. He's got excellent caps for a guy that with the boost is already an 88 overall. Got a chance to be a highly accurate passer with still room to grow with his throw power. And he comes with great mental abilities. The field general is a huge one. Was something that really stood out with Carson Beck. Early in his tenure, probably will have Kevin Vernon as his backup. Vernon will still probably play a little bit just with the speed factor and his ability to run, but don't think it's going to be a major part of the offense. If Bigsby decides to stay, something he may eventually fill for us, but definitely excited for Leonard. I think that he is going to be a great player for us. At running back, you're going to see a 3-headed machine here. Tavares Tobias didn't improve all that much, but we know what we're getting out of the guy that led all of college football in rushing yards last year, the running back of the year, and definitely is going to be the focal point. Glenn Easy has not played a whole lot. I looked over his career stats, and I really felt like that he had played more than he has. He's got 13 career touches or career carries and 6 career catches. But he is an 87 overall, a 90 with the boost. He is going to be the third down back this year. You know, I essentially ran the entire running back room through Tobias last year. But Easy's going to operate as our pass catcher. Tobias obviously is going to be Tobias. But Reed McGinnis was a 5-star running back that we brought in, red-shirted, big-time development. Got excellent caps. Didn't develop a lot during his redshirt year. But, I mean, he is the fastest running back that we have on the roster. Comes in with 94 speed at 6'3", 231. Definitely excited about what he brings to us. Probably will not see a lot of Mance or Crook, but might find ways to get them on the field and get them involved. Percy Breeze is back as our starting fullback, of course. And the wide receiver room is where things get interesting. So guys that I feel really comfortable are going to be on the field pretty much every snap are Fernando Cantrell and Nitro Tuggle. Tuggle has not overly developed extremely well, but as a junior now, I do think he is ready for a step up. He did see an increase from his freshman year to his redshirt sophomore year. Here, almost doubled in reception, doubled in yards, and found the end zone one more time. I think he is ready to operate as our number 2 receiver. Cantrell is the clear number 1 after going for over 1,000 yards as a sophomore. Ended up with 78 catches, 1,083 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Operated as the number 2 passing threat. Those are your clear top 2 to me. And then behind them, I think for the most part, Dexter Dallas is going to be our guy working out of the slot. Boyce, I'm probably going to get some opportunities with his size. Probably see them splitting some of those snaps. Napoli could possibly play a little bit at 6'5", 203-pound frame. I think he could be a player. He's got a specific skill set for sure. And but yeah, this is the guy right here that is definitely beyond Dallas, Tuggle, and Cantrell that is for sure going to get snaps simply because of the 99 speed. You can create those big, deep shots with him that you really can't with the other ones. Eric Addington out of Florida, former four-star, is the clear fastest player in the room. Probably will not see much of Kowalski. What I would guess is your main four receivers are going to be Cantrell, Tuggle, probably Dallas, and then I think Addington is going to end up getting more snaps than Boyce just to create a shot play or two a game. Do like Boyce, though. Dallas is just a really, really good route runner, and I think that's really going to help him out. But you do get the better catching from Boyce, so if Dallas is not really catching the football, I think I'll take the chance on the guy that's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. I'll just have to see how that plays out. Tight end Khalil Blank is the highest rated player in the country. Now, the problem with Khalil Blank is he is pretty much strictly a blocker. His speed has improved enough to where he's now up to a 79 speed guy. 73 catch, 75 catch in traffic. He's just an outstanding blocker. He has a 87 base pass block and an 88 run block. So he is an extra offensive lineman for you. He's just not quite like the elite athlete that a Darnell Washington was for Georgia back in the day. So our number one pass catcher is going to be Jaden Riddell. Probably going to be the way that it has been so far in this series, where it's essentially these top two guys and you let everybody else just kind of develop behind them. The room is going to be more athletic heading into next year as far as the guys that are, because Blank is probably going pro, Riddell is probably going to be back, but you'll probably see more of Waller and Rubin next year. But those are probably two guys that I plan on redshirting the most as far as the offensive players that we have shown so far. But I think Blank and Riddell are going to easily lead the way. You run behind Blank, you throw it to Riddell. Left tackle Monroe Freeling is back. Had a really good junior season. Got a great player behind him in Nair Daniels, who is getting ready to start next year more than likely. We got a lot of depth here at left tackle, of course. Left guard, you got Daniel Calhoun leading the way again. Good depth behind him. Jason Whitaker is one of the highest rated centers in the country. He's probably going to have to wait another year, though, because Kelton Smith is going to remain the starter at right guard. And Marquise Easley has waited his turn. He is going to be the starter at center. It's going to give us a really great offensive line. He's a little bit heavier, not quite as good an athlete as Whitaker, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And by the way, Ben Traynor, 86 speed. Could be a player at some point in time if we can get him further developed down the line. But just a lot of depth along this offensive line. Michael Uini is back again as a starter here with guys behind him that, I feel really good about it if they had to play as well. Moving over to the defense, the way the defensive line shakes out, I think, is going to be interesting. Your two starters are going to be Jordan Hall and Adenije Green at the end spots. Fajardo is going to operate as the backup for both of those guys, both on the left and right side. A.J. Michaels is probably going to get some snaps. Jamario Yates is probably going to get some snaps, but he didn't develop as well as I was hoping for him. But Jordan Hall and Adenije Green, really looking forward to them. Xavier McLeod is definitely going to be our defensive tackle. Ayodele probably going to play some as well, along with Marquise Keene. Nick Costa, really great, highly rated, gave him the number 0. 5-star defensive tackle prospect in this past class. Just wonder how much he'll play in this room, because when we go to pass rush nickel situations, McLeod is definitely going to be one of the rush defensive tackles. Jordan Hall is going to move inside as a rush defensive tackle. You'll have Adenije Green at one of the end spots, and then we are going to be moving Justin Williams, who decided to stay for another year, operating as a pass rusher for us as well. He's got an elite ability to get after the passer with his 90 finesse move, with the speed. He was great in that strategy last year. Will continue to do so. What that does is open up more snaps for guys like Chris Cole, who has played in spots but hasn't played a ton. You probably see a little bit of Craycraft this year, I would guess. Tyrese McNabb and Ty Shaughnessy, Xavier Scruggs may not play that much, but they're developing really, really well. Happy with the spot that they are at. But Chris Jones, Quintavious Johnson, Chris Cole are probably going to be our sub linebackers for the most part. Probably going to end up being Chris Jones and Chris Cole, just really good in pass coverage. Johnson gives you a little bit more versatility with his speed, but could potentially be a situational pass rusher, but the zone coverage is not quite as high as it is for Jones and Chris Cole, so we're going to rock with them. Really excited for Craycraft and the way that he is developing there, but could see a lot of these linebackers play for sure. And Justin Williams, when we're in our run base defense, will be playing there inside. Moving over to corner, DeMello Jones is going to operate as our number one guy here, replacing Dalen Everett and Ellis Robinson, who have both been excellent corners for us in this series. DeMello, fastest guy in the room, and has a really good balance, with being the second best man coverage guy, right in the middle when it comes to the zone pursuit, is excellent, best in the group. Catching is the third highest behind Andre Evans and Jay Crawford. DeMello's a pretty good tackler, but the big thing for him, the reason why I'm probably the most excited for him, is the press. If I can find it, maybe I went right past it. Press. So he has 90 press along with 97 speed. Just feel like DeMello's going to give us the best balance there at that number one cornerback spot. Across from him, we are going to see Chris Peel. Jay Crawford, coming in as a transfer from Auburn, is going to operate out of the slot. You're probably going to see Deion Atkins, I would guess, and you're probably going to see Andre Evans. Evans may operate more as a returner for us this year. Just had some guys got, kind of over-recruited with Jay Crawford. Atkins took a really big jump in the offseason. Of course, we got a couple of freshman corners down here that aren't going to play a whole lot, I don't think. But this top five you feel really good about. There's no super standouts right now, but I think there's a lot of potential in this room. Free safety, still going to be KJ Bolden, be his fourth year as a starter. 97 speed, he's obviously excellent. He's done a great job for us over the years. I thought he started in year one. I guess things are running through my mind a little crazy, but I could have swore that he played for us coming out the gate. But nonetheless, 78 tackles, 88 tackles the last 2 years. He's picked off 2 passes each of those seasons. So yeah, really, really excited for him and what he brings for us this year. Nate Naylor, Gerald Flynn, either one of those guys could get some snaps. You're definitely not going to see Kevin Rutter. And at strong safety, Dre Hooks has waited his turn. He's going to be the starter to start off with, but Reggie Hobbs is certainly right here. I think he would be just fine playing for us, but it's definitely going to be Dre Hooks. We do have a true freshman kicker in Robert Jadowski, and punter Kevin Lozano is back. So this is a great team, but it does have question marks. How good is the quarterback play going to be? How does the running back room shake out? Who kind of becomes your guy that really helps out Cantrell in the wide receiver room with consistency? We'll take a look at the top 25 now, where we're again coming in at number 3. Not scores and schedules. Top 25. Ohio State beat us in that championship. They come in ranked number 1. Oregon's number 2. We're, of course, at 3. Pitt has been excellent. They come in at 4, USC at 5. Clemson, of course, they just got Lenore Sellers. So big-time move for them. Clemson, Cal, Michigan, Arizona, and A&M are your top 10. Tennessee here at 12. Alabama at 16. Let's see. Florida State, who we start off playing in our opener, come in ranked number 25. So UAB being ranked, North Texas being ranked this high is obviously great for them. UCF is definitely developing as a program. Texas Tech has certainly moved along. Arizona's been a big surprise in this series. Cal has been really good in this series. And Pitt, of course. Really interested to see how those teams end up coming about. So we take a look at our schedule. We got just two ranked matchups, at least in the preseason. But it's a good Florida State team, a Louisville team that did go bowling. Ball State, of course, is kind of the quote-unquote cupcake. And then things get nasty. We have two road games to start off conference play here with Oklahoma and Auburn. We come home against Arkansas, then go back on the road at Alabama, who we've had a lot of success against in this series. We've been about double digits now 4 times. See if that continues. 3 straight home games, LSU, Florida, Mississippi State, and then we end it with 2 road games against Kentucky and Georgia Tech. We have 1 night game here against Arkansas and another one here against Ball State. But yeah, road trip to Florida State to start things off is going to be definitely exciting. A good first test for Kellen Leonard right out of the gate. As we take a look at our Heisman Trophy leaders, at least to start off. Jamarian Wilcox from Kentucky, currently leading the way. Dylan Raiola has been really good for Nebraska in this series. Has really developed. LaWayne McCoy, it's not going to take us long to see how good he is. 93 overall wide receiver for Florida State is in here. We'll get to see him in our first game. Arch Manning, currently at 4th, and Julian Sayin is down here at 5th. Of course, he won it in year 2. Fell off a little bit last year, but did enough to beat us in the national championship game. We'll just go kind of take a broad look at just the best players at every position. Again, I've already mentioned it. Khalil Blank is your number 1 player in the country. But Georgia's got leaders, all over. Khalil Blank is tied with Kamar Muthudi from Oregon at that spot, and then right behind them is Joe Phillips, a outside linebacker from Auburn. But at quarterback, things start off here with Dylan Raiola, Pierce Clarkson from Louisville, who we will be seeing, Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Nico Iamaleava, USC's new quarterback, Lenora Sellers, is right here. DJ Lagway, John Hicks is a guy from this series that has progressed really well. But you see right here, it doesn't take very long to get to Kellen Leonard with the boost and where he's at. Really seemed to be an excellent quarterback prospect. He's even at this point jumped above, if I can find him, the first quarterback that I really wanted in this series. I don't know. Certainly I haven't passed him at this point, have I? The Florida quarterback, Ricks. Lagway is still there in the upper echelon. Maybe I did pass him. Let me see. Sorry, this is kind of awkward. I know, waiting for see some guys here in real life that have developed really well. Sam Leavitt doing really well there. Yeah, I don't see Ricks or Riggs, but those are your top quarterbacks. There is an Army player here at the top when it comes to running backs, Ezekiel Bartu, Jamarian Wilcox. Let's take a look. We will be playing him later on this season, right before we play Georgia Tech. Coming off of a 900-yard, 6 touchdown on the ground, 200-yard, and a score through the air. So it was a good all-around player for them. Certainly don't know why he would be up there and Tavares Tobias would not. Grant Rawls out of UCF is behind him. Rico Hagans from Syracuse. Got a guy out of Florida Atlantic. Let's see, Taylor Tatum. Doesn't take very long to get to Glen Easy. Really developed super well. Definitely excited to see how we can get him going. Got Jay Haynes there. Sidney Arrington is a guy we looked at coming out of the portal. Ended up going to Tennessee. Certainly would have been a very solid player for us, but I thought we would get a little bit more development out of our buddy Tavares Tobias. So this guy right here's got an injury. Hollywood Smothers, North Carolina State. Broken ankle, so he's out just a couple more weeks. Okay. Wide receiver LaWayne McCoy is your top guy here with the boost. Is a 95 overall wide receiver. Comes in at the top 5 for the Heisman with 400 yards receiving and 4 scores. Okay. But he is the highest rated wide receiver in the country. Micah Hudson has developed super well for Texas Tech. Aiden Mizell, TJ Abrams, 2 guys here for Florida. Jordan Shipp, Ryan Williams there. Noah Rogers, TJ Moore, Rashard Copeland, Cam Coleman. Looked to try to get him to transfer in before last year. He decided not to, and I guess got hurt. Had 1 whole catch for Clemson last year after he did not come to school here. He'd have had more than 1 catch for me, unless he just got hurt. Let's see. Clemson's got a really good wide receiver room. He may have just literally not gotten on the field with them. Ryan Wingo. It takes a little bit here to get to Fernando Cantrell. But of course, he's our top guy here. He's in the upper echelon, though, among wide receivers. Khalil Blank, again, leading the way here at tight end. A lot of blocking tendency guys here at the top. In fact, you got to scroll a pretty good bit before you get anybody else, and it's Andre Roos from UCF. But a lot of blocking types that are not great athletes. Mitchell is kind of the first one that I would give a good athlete role to with the 80 speed. Roos with 84. Brickscorn here from there, and then Bradell pretty high, of course, as well. As we move over to left tackle, got Samson Okunlola from Miami, Tyree Levis. Got to scroll pretty far here before you get to Monroe Freeling, but still a really good, prospect, of course. A redshirt freshman, Martin Neighbors, is all the way up here, already an 88 overall. Had to have been a 5-star. Elite development, just had outstanding caps. Wow, what a year of development for him. Certainly he played, right? He had to have played to already be that high up overall. That is a generational guy. He did not play last year. Just ready. He's ready now, I guess. A left guard. Got from Florida State, who will be playing Daniel Calhoun. Pretty high up here, of course. A couple of guys there from Missouri. Pretty good left guard group this year, though. Center. Again, it doesn't take long to get to Jason Whitaker, but he will not even be the starter for us this year. Got a guy out of Florida there. Florida's starting to develop, but the 2 best right guards in the country both belong to Georgia. Definitely expecting both of them to go to there. Certainly, Kelton Smith has to go, and I think easily is going to go to the NFL draft this year as well. That's why I want to make sure that we use him, reward him for sticking it out with us. Let's see. Michael Uini is the 3rd highest right tackle in the country, behind Isaiah Garcia from Utah and Thaddeus Butcher from Texas. Another Florida player there. A lot of guys from Alabama, a lot of guys from Michigan, Miami, kind of scattered throughout all these. At left end, Cameron James. Florida is here. We're going to have to go see what their team overall is, because they have got some players. Armando Blunt, of course, is pretty high up here still. Miguel Fajardo made his way up here pretty quickly as a redshirt freshman. Definitely excited to see what he does for us in the future. Some notable names here for sure. Trying to look at some of these other young guys that are, guys from the series, recruits, see how they have stood out. Not a whole lot of them really developing, though, at least at the very, very high end. Elijah Rushing, one of the best players in the country there for Oregon. Adenije Green, Jordan Hall, both of them among the leaders here at right end that will be playing a lot of snaps. Got John Bernal. I think he was a 5-star we went after in year 1, 4-star guy. Despite the normal development, just had to have started out with a good overall. He's got terrible caps. He's as good as he's going to get. But it's a really, really good player, though. Let's see. Just trying to look for any more series guys. Cade Wolf. Don't remember recruiting him, but a 4-star elite guy. Certainly starting to round into form. Defensive tackle, Terrence Green, another Oregon player. Monty Crawford. Let's see. Got Xavier McLeod, has really developed well. Got a redshirt sophomore, Nick Costello. Definitely remember going after him. Went into Texas A&M, was a 4-star guy. Good development. He is coming along nicely for them. Teddy Cotter. Really remember wanting to go after him, a 5-star gem prospect. Really has developed and has a lot more room for development still. If he decides to come back, I think you're looking at a guy that potentially be a low to mid 90s overall guy as a senior. Left outside linebacker Joe Phillips again leading the way there for Auburn. Got Chris Cole, makes his way pretty high up there at the top. Just got a couple of guys here that are actually from the series, and Eric Moong from Washington, Alex Fuentes from A&M. Look at that Wyoming player, Dash Ballman, making his way up here at the top. Okay. Middle linebackers. Justin Williams is a really good player, and he's fairly low down. Now, he's tied for 5th, but fairly low down on the list. Sammy Brown really developed super well there for Clemson. Sophomore Clayton Bulaga from Wyoming, a sophomore, already up to a 94 overall elite development. Still, he is a true sophomore 5-star prospect. He is probably going to end up being a 99 overall player. Have not seen one yet in the series, and he's coming off of just a 7-tackle season. I think he'll have more this year. Right outside linebacker Chris Jones leads the way there. And let's just kind of take a look. Got a Jeremiah Ezekiel developing well. A couple of guys from Rutgers, Nebraska, Oregon, of course, still being heavily utilized. A lot of Florida guys. But shout out to UTSA, James Wally Jr. being ranked there. Trahan Greco from Buford, Georgia, went to Missouri, is a top cornerback in the country. Got a guy from Indiana, of course, Michigan, Miami, Taylor Starling from North Texas there, Teddy Foster, another Florida player, Coco Neepfield, from Michigan. Where is our top player here? Getting close now. Right in this area is when you'll start seeing the kind of a bunch of guys here. DeMello and Chris Peel. Definitely a little bit farther down the list. I don't see any of these guys that are like from the series. There we go. Now we got a couple right here. Coco Veal, an 88 base redshirt sophomore. Got a redshirt freshman, Cordavius Rashid. It's a redshirt freshman. Elite development, elite caps. Just out of curiosity, what is his speed? 99 speed. Yeah, a beast. There for sure. Free safety, Tito Williams. Top guy out of Northwestern. Shout out to the Wildcats. There at the top. Got to scroll down a little bit here to find KJ, but as you see, I talked about KJ Bolden's tendency being the hybrid and how they don't seem to develop very well, despite him being a guy that's played a lot of football for us. He's the highest rated hybrid. He's probably going to be pretty well by far the highest rated hybrid, I would say. And he is. This is a guy that's played a lot of football for us. You have to go all the way down to Xavier Filsami here, another senior from Texas, to find another guy in that spot. It's as highly rated as him. And this is with some guys that are in this class. Timmy Stevens jumped him. Nick Gayton out of Oklahoma State jumped him as well. A couple of guys there from Oklahoma State there at the top. Shout out to the Cowboys. KJ Flo, James Madison University, is the top strong safety in the country. Got a guy from Cincinnati here. Trey Hooks is really high up for a guy that hasn't played. Ricardo Jones is right there. Romy Crum from Georgia State. Evan Johnson from Hawaii. Shout out to the guy. CJ Johnson, Tracy Bennett. Okay. Top-rated kicker is a guy out of Purdue, and the top-rated punter is a guy out of Illinois. Let's take a look at Florida's. I want to see their team overall. They seem to have a lot of really good players. They're at 88. Of course, DJ Lagway. Deontay Riggs has not developed. So I guess just being stuck behind Lagway has stunted his development. Of course, we have had a lot of success against Lagway, but he is He's a really good player. Coming off a 16 touchdown, 9 interception season, had 32 against 18 the year before. So that 2-to-1 in touchdown interception ratio has kind of been his number after taking over for Graham Mertz. Riggs threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks last year and hasn't played a whole lot. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to cover here. Really looking forward to seeing what we can do here in this series. And in fact, let's go ahead and advance the week. That way we can jump into the Florida State game in this next episode. We'll go over the week 0 scores, and then we'll be ready to get started. Of course, we are here at the top for a whole host of these prospects, 19 of them to be exact. William Bigsby right now is the only guy at risk of transferring. And Florida State shows them at number 25 right there, but doesn't show it right there. It'll be who we play. Let's take a look at the scores around the country there real quickly. We had any top 25. We did. We had Oregon over Utah State, Notre Dame over Michigan State, Texas Tech over North Texas in a top 25 matchup there, Oklahoma State over Tulsa, and A&M over New Mexico. But we're here and we are ready. The next episode, we will start off year 4 with a road trip to take on the Seminoles in Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah. If you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. Check out my Tulane Dynasty also on the channel, along with my Atlanta Hawks franchise on NBA 2K25. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, peace.